Hi, I'm Katerina. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Let the games begin. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, you guys always hear me say the one good thing about Teofimo being a racist and a great race baiter is it shines a light on the entire sport. It puts pressure on them to react because not too many people want to publicly be associated with a racist, regardless if they're a closet racist or not. So in this case, Teofimo, he's not the only one receiving a lot of backlash for all of his racist rants. Because Teo is still the WBO, the junior welterweight WBO champion, and because of Teo's constant racist rants, now the WBO is under fire. Now they're under pressure to do something. And this is one of the good things about social media. You can contact these guys directly. So a lot of fans have been contacting the WBO. Here's one guy right here that contacted them and got a reaction. His Twitter name is JBZ. He says, "Hey, Olivieri, where's the statement about Teofimo's actions?" And then he shares a post where someone says the WBC took action against Ryan Garcia for racism. The WBA gave him a title shot in his first fight back in a new weight class. Props to the WBC for making a stand. So the WBO president, Gustavo, he responds. He says, "Hello, sir. We will convene next week to address this matter and other relevant events. Rest assured, we will carefully investigate any and all potential violations of our rules, regardless the fighter, and proceed in accordance with due process guarantees." Now, see, this is what I was talking about when I said, let the games begin. What are they talking about? An investigation. You want to figure out if that was really Teo's voice or not? Was it somebody acting like Teo? Was it AI? Was somebody behind the camera with a gun to his head, coercing him? And when they say they're going to investigate the potential violations of their rules, man, this is the wild, wild west. That's the thing about boxing. There are no regulations. They make up new rules every day as they go in this sport. Look at the WBC. He came up with a fake franchise belt just to protect Canelo and Lomachenko from fighting their number one contenders. Now the belt doesn't even exist anymore. All it took to make a new rule when it came to the WBC was a phone call. So my point is, in a sport like this where there are no rules, there are no regulations. If the WBO really wanted to make a statement, if they really wanted to send a message to all the other racist boxers that have been inspired by Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez, then the WBO, they could lay the hammer down right now and strip Teo of his belt and suspend him from any WBO rankings. And if you really want to end this, create a hate speech rule in a sport of boxing where the racists will not only be suspended, but fined and forced to pay punitive damages to the defendant. That would end this shit in a heartbeat. It's time to stop playing these games, man. This situation is too easy to fix if the sport of boxing really wants to fix it. And unfortunately, it seems like they really don't want to fix it. Here's something else the WBO president said. Number one, he said many celebrities believe that trash talking will attract followers, and they may be correct, but such trash talking should never devolve into comments about race. Racism should not be tolerated in any language. If you are a world champion, your skill will do the talking for you. Number two, that attracts followers as well. If you are a racist, the WBO is no place for you. To hell with racism. Who the cap fits, let him wear it. Now listen, if you didn't know no better, you would say that sounds pretty good. But here's the problem. How come Teo's name is not attached to that paragraph? They were supposed to say, because Teofimo Lopez is a racist, the WBO is no place for you. Because that's not what the WBC represents. To hell with racism. That's how they should have wrote it. I mean, how are you excluding Teo's name from that statement when Teo is the main topic of discussion? You're going to say, if you are a racist? What do you mean, if? We already know Teo is a racist. He's made it very clear he's a racist. You know, it always amazes me that some people are afraid or uncomfortable to just come out and call someone a racist. Some people are always reluctant to do it, but yet the racists, they are extremely comfortable to come out and say the most racist stuff. like Ryan Garcia, like Teofimo Lopez. If they're not afraid to be racist, how can you be afraid to call them a racist? That makes no sense at all. It is the most backward shit ever. Somebody sent me a clip of Stephen Fulton talking about one of them racists, either Ryan or Tio, I don't remember. But Stephen Fulton, he's saying, man, I just want to talk to him, man. I want to see where his head is. I want to talk to him. And, you know, he's reading the comments. And then out of nowhere, I guess he's reacting to the chat. And he says, I never said he was racist. I'm not saying he's a racist. Man, I stopped that video so fast. I didn't want to hear nothing else he had to say. You cannot be afraid to call a spade a spade. If Ryan and Tio are not afraid to call you every racial slur in the book, how can you possibly be afraid of calling them what they are? So you guys are playing checkers, and you're not even good at playing checkers. You're losing in that as well, and you ain't even got a good checkers board. The more you say, oh, I'm not saying that they're racist. Oh, I never said he's a racist. The more you say that, the more you exacerbate the situation. That is an endorsement. Because they're going to say, did you hear what Stephen Fulton said? He said that this is not even racist, what I'm saying. So that means we can keep saying it. That means black people, they're saying it's okay. It's not racist. Now, I'm sure Stephen Fulton has kids. So the question I would ask you is, Stephen Fulton, would you be okay with racists calling your kids N-words and all kind of other racial slurs every day at school? How would you feel if after your kids have been called these racial slurs, they come home and they find out one day that you were one of the main people actually encouraging and endorsing those racist people to continue racially disrespecting your kids? Stephen Fulton is completely off code. And if you don't know how to stay on code, you ain't got nothing smart to say, it's better to say nothing at all. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you a racist, man. I'm just saying, you know, that shit you be saying is kind of like the same shit the racists be saying, man. Hey, man, but don't get offended. I'm not calling you a racist. I'm just saying, you know, you saying the same stuff, man. And some people might mistake you for one of them racists, but not me, you know, because I don't think you a racist. But I'm just saying other people, they might think you a racist. I just don't want you to be involved in a bad case of mistaken identity, that's all. Guys, let me tell you this. I understand the psychology of white supremacy and coon inferiority like no one else does. You see, when it comes to white supremacy, you have these racist Hispanics that wish they were white. And when I say white, I'm talking about Caucasian, not just light skin or pale skin. I'm talking about real Europeans. I'm not talking about some of you Latinos that say, hey, man, well, I got some European blood DNA in me, so I want to be considered white. Yeah, just like every black American has European DNA. Latinos' ancestors were enslaved, slaughtered. The women were all raped. Your original names were taken from you, and that's why you have European DNA. Same thing happened to black people. So even though Mexicans desperately want the acceptance of white supremacy, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they will never accept you as white. This is the reason why they want all Latinos out of the country. And right now, Donald Trump is welcoming and inviting, quote unquote, white people from South Africa to move to America as refugees. And Donald Trump would never invite Latinos to America as refugees. Even if you called up Donald Trump directly and told him that you was white. This is the reason why Donald Trump, he wants to annex Canada and Greenland, but not Mexico. He wants Mexicans out of the country, and he wants to increase the white population in America. And I'm clarifying this for many reasons. For one, every once in a while, I'll get a Mexican viewer in my comment section, and he'll say, hey, Dante, Mexican is not a race, it's a nationality. Like, I don't know that. Mexico is just like America, where you have all different races that live in the country. That's their slick way of trying to say that they want to be considered white. First of all, every country has many different races that live in the country. So that doesn't prove anything. White people will never accept you guys as Caucasian. I can guarantee you that. I got a message from somebody a while ago where they said to me, hey, Dante, you know, in prison or some prisons, the Mexicans align with the Nazis. I know that. I know all of that. But it doesn't change anything that I just said, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, let me tell you something you guys probably didn't know. Did you guys know that there's a such thing as black Nazis? Yeah, black Nazis that are actually part of Nazi gangs. And I'm not just talking about Kanye West. And you know what? Let me just make this point real quick before I go back to that. Growing up in Long Beach, California, of course you have your different gangs out there, but in Long Beach there was one Mexican gang in particular, and it is one of the most racist gangs in the country, and it's West Side Longos. You know, while other gangs used to spray on the wall, F this gang or F that gang, right? Well, this Mexican gang in particular, they would just spray on the wall F N-words or F Asians because they didn't get along with the Asians either. They would even use racial slurs to describe Asians and say F them. And I tell you guys all of this to say, I had a neighbor, a black neighbor, and I still remember his name. His name was Larry, and he was a member of the West Side Longos. So my point is, they accepted that black man into their gang. And I'm sure, you know, every once in a while they would have little racist jokes about him where they would laugh in his face and he would laugh along with them. But at the end of the day, we know how Mexicans feel about black people in general. And the same thing applies when it comes to the white Nazis who have accepted black Nazis or Mexican Nazis. A lot of people don't know this, but in Germany, when Hitler was in control, they had a lot of Jewish Nazi gangs. And these were big Nazi gangs. They were Jews that did not want to be considered Jews. They wanted to be considered white Germans. But unfortunately for them, they found out all that white supremacy loyalty was for nothing. Because when Hitler started the genocide, they all got sent to the concentration camps. At least a couple of them got away and fled to other countries. Now, for those of you guys around my age, do any of you guys remember Adebisi from Oz? He played in many movies. He was in Get Rich or Die Trying. He was in Lost. He's a really good actor. He's an African actor. His name is Adewale Abaje. Well, he made a biopic movie about his life. It's called Farming. It's a pretty interesting and educational movie, but it is pretty crazy. I mean, it's a story of him migrating from Africa to the UK as a child, and then he ends up joining a white supremacist gang. Well, before they used to bully him because he was the only black kid in the neighborhood. But when he started to fight back and even beat up some of the Nazis, he got their respect and they let him in their Nazi gang. So my point is, the fact that Mexicans aligned with Nazis in prison, it doesn't change anything. Just like the fact that this black man, he joined a Nazi gang, it still doesn't change how they feel about us and how they feel about you Latinos. And I'm not trying to say this to try to conform these racist Mexicans or other Latinos. I'm just saying they will never accept you as white, no matter how much you try to beg for their acceptance. So you might as well just be proud of what you are and stop trying to be something that you're not. And by the way, guys, in that movie I was telling you guys about Farming, he does wake up. He does do a transformation for the better. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com. Like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.